Hello my sweet book nerds, it's Jessie, and today we're going to be looking at all of, definitely not all of, but a lot of the books that I could find that I have not finished. Some of them were intentionally DNF'd, some of them were unintentional, and some of them are technicalities. There are definitely some of the books on this list that I plan to get back to, so let's get into it. The first is Respect for Acting by Uta Hagen. Technically, we're starting off on a technicality. I haven't read the actual book, but I have read many excerpts from this book from various acting teachers, and I like how she says things, and I liked it enough to actually buy the book, so I bought it, and at some point I want to actually read the entire book. I'm probably going to read it multiple times over the course of my life if I would like to be an actor. Who knows, because I am a person who's definitely like, I need to read to understand the craft of something, but I'm also someone who needs more, so I need to do something to understand the craft, whether it be acting or writing or whatever else. Specifically, those are my things: acting, writing, directing. The only other thing I think of is cooking. I don't read a lot about cooking, I read recipes, and that's it. And I'm more so a baker than a cook, but I can cook too. The next book on my list, Sweet Shop of Dreams by Jenny Colgan. I started this book my first semester of college. It just was such a slow read that I couldn't get into it. I was reading this book for weeks, and I'm only on I only got to page 128 out of, good lord, 422 pages. And the story itself is so interesting. Something about it just wasn't doing it for me, but I really want to know what's going to end up happening, because I like the characters, I like the story, it's just the actual writing is slow. Next we have Rosemarked by Olivia Blackburn, which I got in an uppercase box. Rosemarked is a future dystopian novel. It is a futuristic dystopian novel about this girl. Her name is Ziva, who gets this disease. She becomes a healer at the beginning of the book. That's like a big thing. And then she gets this disease that's like deadly. It's basically the Black Plague, but red. And she's Rosemarked. Being Rosemarked is an airborne disease, so she can't be around other people who are not Rosemarked, so she gets sent out to this village of other people who are Rosemarked and she can be around. And she's a healer there, and she meets this guy who is Umber Touched, which basically means that he was exposed to the disease, but he was immune to it. So he has these, I think, brown markings on his skin, and that's how you know he's Umber Touched. Like if someone's Rosemarked, they have those markings but in red, and you know that eventually they'll die from the disease. And that's pretty much all I remember. Oh, that's a really pretty bookmark. I got this when I bought a book from Book Depository, because Book Depository sends really pretty, can you see that? Oh, look at the shadow. It sends really pretty bookmarks. I liked the writing of this book and I like the concept, but I'm not a big dystopian fantasy person. I wanted to keep reading this book because I liked the writing, I liked the characters, and I wanted to know what was going to happen, but just something about it wasn't doing it for me. I want to know what happens at the end because I'm curious by nature, but the book itself didn't make me want to know enough to actually finish the book. It just wasn't really for me. The next book on my DNF list is Out of Reach. The next book on my list is Out of Reach by Carrie Arcos. I don't remember specifically what this is about because I read it, or I started it many years ago. From what I remember, it's this girl whose brother is missing or has run away or something. Okay. So basically, it's about a girl named Rachel who has a brother named Micah who has an addiction. He has since gone missing. The blurb doesn't say anything about their parents, so I'm guessing their parents just kind of gave up on him. She gets an anonymous note saying that her brother is somewhere in the vicinity, I don't know how big the vicinity is, somewhere nearby, and that he's in danger. So she enlists his best friend to help her find him. I DNF'd this because, okay, I really want to know what happened to Micah. That's what I care about, but it just was a slow read. The writing itself I don't think was keeping me interested, and I just stopped. Because I'm pretty sure it was taking forever for me to read this, and I was just like, no, I want other things. So that's probably what it was. I don't know. We have some more technicalities on deck. This is another book that I started reading for class, and I sped read through a good 60%. Oh no. Okay, it says I was gonna say 60%, but my bookmark is on page 68 out of 250 pages. That is not 60%, that is 30%. No, that's less than 30%. That is 24%. I read 24% of the book. I was supposed to read this book over the course of 4 months, my first semester in college, for one of my classes, and I did not do that. So I sped read through the first 70 pages of this book 3 days before finals because I had to write a paper on 3 books, 2 of which I did not finish, 1 of which I did not open, so I just googled it. And I'm pretty sure I ended up writing about the wrong book for that section, but the right author but I got an A in the class, so it was fine. The next book on my list, very sad to say, Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. However, makes me less sad. This is a technicality because I got this book at the book release she had at McNally Jackson Books over the summer. And I also met Karen M. McManus that day. I read the first 4 pages of this book, and I even wrote a little note at the bottom of it. Literally, I just started reading this book the day I got it. I wanted to start reading it, but I was in the middle of another book and wanted to finish that one, and I just never got back. But I'm definitely going to read the Cheerleaders. It's on my list. There's so many books on my list, which is why I don't want to ever do a TBR video, because that list is daunting. That list is scary. The next one is A Girl Like That by Tanaz Bathana. I literally stopped at the first chapter because the prologue was very hard to follow, and I also just wanted to start reading something else, or I was in the middle of reading something else or something. I don't know, but I want to read this book. It was about 2 people in 2 teens in Saudi Arabia who wind up in a car dead together. People are basically trying to figure out what happened, and they're getting little individual pieces of this girl's life, of Zaren's life, and they're just like, oh, these are things we didn't know, and I want to know what the things are. I do like reading books that have Muslim main characters or Muslim backstories because... Rude. Because my family is Muslim and I was raised Muslim, and while I don't practice any part of the religion, I do appreciate seeing it represented in media, especially in books. I learn a lot about it that I didn't learn growing up. It's just another way to feel connected, I guess. Not necessarily that I feel connected, but I appreciate seeing the representation because I didn't have that when I was a kid. I'm an avid media consumer. I try to consume the media about the Muslim people. Shout out to the bold type because Adina El Amin is one of my icons. She's amazing. The next book on my list is Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan, which is the 4th book in the Percy Jackson series. So I read the first book. I did not read the second book or the third book, but I read probably like 2/3 of the 4th book. It was very hard to find the other books at my school, and somebody was like, oh, I have 4 and 5, so they let me borrow it, but they also needed it back really fast, so I had to get back, and so I didn't finish it. But I also didn't really want to finish it because I hadn't read 2 and 3. I'd only read 1. I would love to go back to it because I loved the first book. It was so good, and even though the movie was a flop, I actually kind of liked it. One day I'll get back to this. Oh my god, another technicality book that I read for class and never finished that also trickled into all my other reading for that semester, which is An Actor Prepares by Konstantin Stanislavski. This was also another required reading acting book for my first semester acting class, and it was the first one that I decided to read, and I got this far in the book. This is all that I read. It was just such a slow read, and I didn't understand, like, I highlighted stuff, but I also didn't really understand what was going on, and I would literally fall asleep every time I read this book. But I also didn't want to go to the other 2 books we were supposed to read until I finished this one, and I didn't want to start any other books until I finished this book. Or no, my first semester of college was a terrible semester for me in terms of what I was reading. The last month, like sometime in November, I was like, no, fuck this shit, and I stopped reading. Next is this book called Why I Read: The Serious Pleasure of Books by Wendy Lesser. I don't know, I thought it would be interesting, and I was like, oh, I love reading, let's get this book on why other people read. But I don't know, I don't think I really got into it, and it was a non-fiction book, and it was like a study book, and it was a book on, and I just, one day when I'm older and more refined, I'll read it again and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And this is another book that I got when I was doing college now. It's called Outliers: The Story of Success by Malcolm Gladwell. The only part I remember reading was, I think, about Bill Gates when he was in college and how he started computer programming or something. I don't know. Obviously I don't remember a lot, nor did I read it that closely because I can't stand reading books for school. And the next book is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I read 26 pages of this. Don't know what happened. I love the show Sherlock. I'll get back to it. It might have been the language of the book, actually. This book was written like back in the day, so I don't understand old language and I can't stick to it. That's why I don't like classics. I can't read classics, I'm sorry. Ooh. Hankering of a book, 1,100 pages is it. I tried reading it 3rd semester in college because that's when the movie was coming out, but of course me, like a dummy, even though I knew about the movie was coming out, decided not to take the summer to read the book, but to start reading the book once school started. And I would carry this book with me every single day in a messenger bag. It literally, this book took up half of the bag. It was it, notebook, pencils, pens, phone, charger, whatever else I had. And it just was so heavy. That was the only reason I stopped reading it. I got to chapter 8, which is on page 320. The next book on this list, I will finish reading it, I promise. Don't judge me. Anyway. The next book on this list is Strong Female Protagonist Book 2 by Brennan Lee Mulligan and Molly Ostertag. I started reading this book, I don't know when. Did I ever start reading this book? Maybe I didn't. I might have lied to you. Maybe I didn't actually start this book because my bookmark is on the content warning. Ooh, I don't remember. I don't think I ever actually, no, I don't think I DNF'd this book because I don't think I started this book. So we're just gonna not put it back on the shelf, but yeah, I'm gonna put it back on the shelf. It's fine, I'll put a note. Yeah. So, continuity error, but it's fine. Okay, so the actual next book on this list, Maggie the Mechanic, a Love and Rockets book by Jaime Hernandez. I stopped reading this book because it was so slow. Like, I absolutely loved the art, but it was taking me forever, and I also had no idea what was actually going on most of the time. So I just stopped reading it. But I don't want to get rid of it. I want to read it. I want to know what's going on. I want to read the other books in the series. And the next book is a book that I was supposed to read for school last semester and did not pick up until like 2 months ago. That is the Hollywood Standard 2nd edition by Christopher Riley. And this is a how-to book on writing Hollywood movie screenplays. I started reading it this semester because I am a screenwriting major and I want to know how to properly format a screenplay because I know most of it. I know the general basis of it. Don't know all of it. I would like to learn more about it. Might be the last book on this list, which not officially, but it's all the last one I could find to put on this list is It's Not About the Burqa, edited by Mariam Khan. And I can't tell you who it's by because it's a collection of essays by all these amazing Muslim women. I don't know if any of the people on this list are non-binary folk, and I would like to respect that. Muslim women and people. I found out about this book from at Fantastic Books and Where to Find Them on Instagram. They had read it and I thought it looked really interesting because, as I said before, I absolutely love reading books by Muslim people, about Muslim people, from the perspective of Muslim people, and this book is a collection of essays by Muslim people about their relationship with their faith and their relationship with their feminism or their sexuality. Muslim women on faith, feminism, sexuality, and race, which I think is just such an important topic and it's very close to me and I care about it a lot, and I would love to know more perspectives on it. However, terrible non-fiction reader. As of today, I read 92 pages of this book, which is 6 essays. I read 6 essays in this book, which I think is not bad. I do think I would like to break it up because at this point I'm kind of reading the essays just to get through them and to finish the book. I'm not reading them as close as I can be to take in what I can from each individual essay, which is something I definitely think I should be doing. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to read the book essay by essay, take breaks in between, whether it be for entire books, whether it just be like day by day, I don't know. But I definitely think this is a book that I need to go through slowly. I need to parse it, I need to read it a few times, or even just individual essays read a few times, because there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to understand, there's a lot to take in and unpack. From every different author's individual perspective, there's just so much to learn, so much to understand, so much to talk about. But I have gotten some stuff and I've annotated a whole bunch of parts, and I've learned a lot. I feel like I'm learning a lot. I feel like there's a lot more for me to learn from this book. I definitely am going to finish it. It's just a book that I so far have not finished, and even though it was my current read, I felt like including it because I did decide to pick up another book and start reading it in the middle of this book. So, and also, can we just look at the actual cover underneath the jacket? This is beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful book covers I've ever seen, if not the most beautiful. And it really reminds me a lot of Comics for Choice. Like, I love this. I think this is so beautiful. And I think we should just appreciate that for like a good minute. Look at this. Look at it. We're just gonna sit here and look at it because it's beautiful. And Comics for Choice is also another anthology, but of comics. This is a book I did finish, and also I think this is a very important book to read. I think everyone should read this book, and I appreciate every single person who contributed to this anthology for opening up their heart and their lives to me, and to all the other people who read this book. I think that was incredible. It took a lot of courage, it took a lot of strength, and it's important, okay? It's important. We're not gonna get into a political discussion right now, or anytime soon, but it's so important and everybody should read this book. Everybody should. Call it Comics for Choice. Hazel New Levant, co-editor and publisher. Whit Taylor, co-editor. Okay, Fox co-editor. Another book that I did not finish and don't ever plan on finishing is, I don't actually have my physical copy on me. I can't, it's in a box, I can't take it out. That Is Not a Feeling by Dan Josephson. But I found it at BookCon and it was $5 and the cover looked cool. It sounded like it'd be interesting. Benjamin arrives with his parents for a tour of Roaring Orchards, a therapeutic boarding school tucked away in upstate New York. Suddenly his parents are gone and Benjamin learns that he is there to stay. 16 years old, a two-time failed suicide, Benjamin must navigate his way through a new world of morning meds, popped privileges, candor meetings, and cartoon brunches, all run by adults who themselves have yet to really come of age. It sounds like it would be really, really cool. And it looks like it would be really cool. Well, this part with the duck beak is weird, but when I read it, it was not. The first, like, 100 pages probably might have been what I read. Just weren't interesting, and the writing even wasn't enough to grab my attention to make me want to keep reading, even just for that. And I was upset because I feel like that book had so much potential for me, and it just didn't follow through. The characters, though, were really, really interesting on their, like, individually. They all had interesting backstories and they all had really cool personality traits that were shown really well. Nothing was really going on. I don't know what the plot was. I don't know what the book was about. I don't know what the different events were. And there's one part with a razor that I really liked, I think. Not that it was a good thing that was happening, but it was an interesting tactic to see the character do that. So that was cool. And that's all I remember from that book. So as of today, in this beautiful April of 2019, those are all books that I can think of that I have not finished. I'm sure there are more out there that exist in the world. I don't know what they are. And that's okay. Oh, there's a poetry book over there that I never finished, but we're not gonna get into that. I can't reach it. Alright, that's all for now, and I will see you. I don't have a set schedule of video posting yet, so maybe in a week. I'm not sure. All of my social media is linked down below. Please click subscribe if you like to hear me ramble on about things and then go on tangents and not know what I'm saying, but I have a really cute face, so even if it's just for that, okay. Oh, I can't do my like scooch down because I'm sitting in a chair. Oh, I can do a thing. I'm gonna try a thing. Guys, was that smooth? Hold on, we're gonna try that again when I'm not holding a book. Guys, was that smooth? Oh, my eyebrows look really nice. Shout out to my eyebrow girl. She's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna try it from here.